Also, like I said before, a lot of the women in your life that you know, particularly when you're talking about upper class Caucasian women, or middle class, upper middle class Caucasian women, the reason why they're feminists is because they just they were in, like Dave Chappelle said, they were in on the take. They just didn't like their cut. So this is why, um, like particularly Caucasian feminists do not impress me, and black feminists, I just think they're idiots. But upper middle class Caucasian feminists that they begin taking care of too. Talking about, they don't even, a lot of them don't even have to even put in a real shift in, be complaining about nothing. You know what I mean? So we're gonna call this video on an installment of a series, women complaining about nothing. Just women complaining about nothing. So right here, there's going to be a video of guys at a golf course basically joking about, what time did your wife ask you to be back at home by? And you're going to see the woman here. She's going to be crying about it.
What time did you tell your wife you were going to be done? 3. What time did you tell your wife you were going to be done?
Oh, man, we're going to be done like 3:30.
3:30? Not bad.
Let's just call this what it is. It is a blatant disrespect of women's time. It is. Men telling their partners that they will be home at a certain time when they have no intention of actually being home at that time is disrespectful. Because when you tell your partner you're going to be home at 5, but you don't actually mean 5, you mean 7, 8, because you were at the clubhouse for 2 hours with your buddy, they made plans according to the time you gave them. Maybe they booked an appointment. Maybe they scheduled grocery pickup. Maybe they intended to meal prep for the week, but now that you're not home, they can't do any of those things. When you tell someone something, they count on you for that thing. We should also consider that most of these men oftentimes are dads who are out golfing, and their partners don't mind that they golf, but it is an expensive and time-consuming hobby. And I can almost guarantee these men on Sunday are not watching the kids for 6 hours straight so she can do whatever the heck she wants. And if she leaves for an appointment, you best believe he's holding her accountable to the time she said she would be home, because he has plans. He has things he needs to do that day. His time is important. Everyone's time is important, especially women's time. And so when men go out to golf, usually women don't mind that they're golfing. What they mind is the blatant disrespect that happens when men go off to these kinds of hobbies. They say one thing and they do another thing. It is rude. Like, it's just point blank rude. And it like fails to acknowledge.
What time did you tell your wife you were going to be done?
I'm so happy the video cut off, that she ran out of time. All I heard was blah, 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 blah. Look, maybe I'm a bit spoiled in the sense of, I grew up in certain neighborhoods, or I went to certain people's schools, and you go to certain people's houses, and I'm just saying, I will go into these people's houses and I'll be like, damn, what does the dad do? God damn. So maybe I'm a bit insensitive in the fact I'm literally looking at a lot of these ladies, particularly white women. I'll look at their houses and I'm like, what are they complaining about? I'm just saying, like, out of all the things he could be doing, he's out golfing while you're at home, right? Look, this is what I have to say though, because like I said, because if it's not video games, then it's golfing. If it's not golfing, then it's porn. If it's not porn, then it's there are husbands or dudes, right? They will stay home and she will still complain about him not spending time with the bitch. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm talking about dudes that work from home, or dudes will have whole YouTubes dudes will be streaming at home, and their girl and some and even you'll still see their girls being all up in the camera, still trying to. You'll be like, bruh, sit down, do something, make the nigga some dinner or something, give him some water, do something useful. It's always because, like, I've seen videos where the guy is playing video games, and the guy's daughter will be right in his lap, having a peaceful time, not even crying on the thing, and the woman is still complaining. I'll talk about, like I said, if it's not video games, then you're out too much golfing. It's always something. It's always something. And this is the ultimate question I gotta ask: why does he feel the need to be away from you? Because I know a lot of men. There are plenty of men out here that be like, look, man, my wife want me back here at this time. I got to get back home. I know there's people. We all know men like this. We know plenty of men like this. I'm talking about they can't even stay out if they got a rehearsal. If they're musicians, I don't want to call no names. Right? If any of my people are following me. Their wife tells them, nah, you can't be out there. They'll be back home. Right? And they're still complaining anyways, but that's another story. But you have to ask yourself as a woman, why doesn't he want to come back home to you? in terms of he'd rather stay out golfing because he could be doing something else, if you know what I'm saying. But he's just out golfing with his buddies. He could be doing much worse things than golfing if you catch my grift. If you catch my grift, right? I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But anyway, why does he feel the need to be away from you? You know why? Because I'm just listening to the tone of your voice. I'm not trying to listen to what you got to say. just hearing her talk, I'm already like, oh my God, I gotta be outside. I can't listen to this. I just can't. But I always say this. When we talk about, particularly when you look at the celebrities with those long-lasting marriages with their normie partners, with their normie girl partners, have anybody noticed? Like, I've never even heard like we talk about Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, LeBron James, these people that have been with their wives for how many years? I rarely hear them talk. I don't even, when I'm talking about Ice Cube girl, I've never heard her talk. And I'm like, that's the key. I'm like, that's the key. That's it right there. That's it. But like, it's particularly Caucasian women because they are in the top in terms of the pecking order, in terms of being picked by men in general. They still don't get it. They think that like a Tommy Lauren, like women like that, they think that people actually want to hear what they have to say. But no, Tommy, you gained prominence and popularity because you were a pretty blonde. Well, you were a young Caucasian woman that was blonde, that was running with the conservative gang at one point, and you was repping that Republican, you know. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. You was with the Bloods, right? Repping the Bloods, the Republicans, right? And you was repping that, so people wanted to give you a platform because you were easy on the eyes to look at, and you were saying points that they agreed with. So they gave you some airtime. Now, eventually you're going to age out and it's going to be somebody new, like a Brett Cooper, one of these people. A new young woman is going to come along and take that spot. Nobody really wants to hear what you have to say. You just easy to look at for the conservatives, the conservacucks, and they'll give you a platform and let you talk as long as you stay in bounds. But really, nobody really cares what you have to say, really. But nobody has the balls to say that. But because she's on those platforms, she thinks that she's smarter than most, and she's not. It's like, she's clearly not. You know what I mean? So these things, I don't even know why. Like, women don't even on women on that level. They just don't get it. They really think that they're that important. But I always say this, particularly for Caucasian women. I would say for Caucasian women, you definitely like do not follow the example of a black woman with that whole talking nonsense, talking up the husband. You know, don't do that. Less is more in terms of talking. Less talking, more cooking. Less talking, more cleaning. Less talking, more sex with the husband. That would literally help the world. But they don't want to do that. they just refuse to do that. They only reserve that for the Chads. And then they'll be like, he broke my heart. Like, when you talk about when people talk about, oh, women don't cook, it's not that they don't cook. They don't cook. They just don't want to. And they only reserved it. They think that's only reserved for the top men. And they just really think that the average man or anybody that she deems that she's settled for, she's just not going to do those things for that person. You know what I mean? So let's take a listen again.
3. What time did you tell your wife you were going to be done?
I mean, we're gonna be done like 3:30.
3:30? Not bad.
Let's just
Now, I saw a comment on the last guy. You know what I mean? And basically, this girl here, she's like, look at his face. Haha, I got her. He go, ha ha ha, I got her. Yay me. And then she goes on to say, I hope divorce is in his future. Now, that is an evil thing to say. Now, first of all, he's being pretty sarcastic. I don't know why women can't pick up on this stuff. The so-called, they, you know, apparently men lack emotional intelligence, but you can't pick up that he's being sarcastic. And on top of that, you're talking about, I hope divorce is in his future. You don't wish divorce on people like that. That's just a weird thing to say, and that's kind of fucked up to say. But you know, that's just me. That's just me. Anyways, let's listen to her again, and I'm gonna break down what she's saying. Well, I'm going to chop it up and show why she's wrong.
just call this what it is. It is a blatant disrespect of women's time. It is. Men telling their partners that they will be home at a certain time when they have no intention of actually being home at that time is disrespectful.
So these are the teachers, you know what I mean? When we talk about the female teachers that I couldn't even stand, like that that tone, that voice is just literally like it's so painful. It's just so painful. You know what I mean? It's just so painful. Now the thing is, when women are younger, they get away with it because they're younger women and men want to naturally be around them. You know what I mean? But as they get older, this is why I remember a coach told me, like, look, the woman that you pick, he said, he one of my coaches from back in the day, I'm not going to say who it is because he's still married. Okay. One of my sports coaches, I'm not going to say, be specific. I don't want him to get in trouble, but he said this: look at your mom. That's what your wife is going to look like. You see how you just look at your mom, you're just like, ugh. He said, that's what your wife is going to look like. Now, he's being facetious, but he's saying, look, there's going to be a time where you're not even going to be wanted to be sleeping with your wife like that because she's going to look a certain way. So he was basically telling her, look, before you get married, just understand, you better be marrying somebody that you actually want to be around. Meaning, it's more than, don't just go off appearance because that's going to fade. She's going to look like your mom. That's what he said. That's what he was trying to say. I remember he said that in high school, and that rings true today. And I'm like, and it really makes you put things in perspective, even when it comes to just fornication in general. You're just like, okay, let me wrap this up because even though, yeah, I want to have fun time with her because she's looking a certain way right now, but I really don't want to knock this chick up. So let me protect myself. You know what I mean? So this has to be, you really have to keep that in your head, because I'm just listening to this woman. I'm like, oh my God. I just can't. I'm not saying she ain't straight for the stroke, but I'm pretty sure, like, 10 years ago, she was straight for the stroke. You know what I mean? Probably straight for the stroke, 5 to 10 years ago. But as she gains age, Kaylee's turn into Karens. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. Kaylee's turn into Karens. And that transformation, that transformation, that's a real transformation right there. It really puts things in perspective.
Because when you tell your partner you're going to be home at 5, but you don't actually mean 5, you mean 7, 8, because you were at the clubhouse for 2 hours with your buddy, they made plans according to the time you.
What plans? Just to be around you, right? Scrolling on your phone all day, doing, you know what I mean? Plans like what? Let's go to the farmer's market. Let's go here. What do you mean plans? Your plans, you mean? You know what I mean? Because really, men don't even really like to go out like that. Oh, not like OD unless if it's with friends. But meaning they're just not going to just go out on a random. If they're going to go out, right? They go to a store. Okay, I'm going to get this, and they're in and out of the market 5 minutes tops, right? Now, when you're seeing dudes at Home Depot or at these places and they're sitting there for an hour or 2, 3 hours, that's because they're really not trying to go back home. Like, I don't know if you guys notice, but like anybody that work in retail, then like old men, they be waking up early. Old men wake up early as hell, dog. Like, I'm talking about early. Old people wake up early as hell. They wake up so early because they know their wife is going to be still sleeping for another 2 to 3 or 4 hours, right? So they wake up early, go to Home Depot early in the go to these spots. Sometimes they'll even enjoy a movie if they want. They wake up early to avoid. They'll walk the dog, make sure they get that out the way, get their things done, make sure they gets to some house tasks done. So because they already know by the time she wake up, party's over. The fun is over. Like they white men like to call their wife the warden, right? Oh man, though she's the warden's waking up. As soon as the sun's up, they're like, oh my God, she's gonna wait. Here we go. Because I'm telling you, they do this stuff because they already know. Because as soon as she wakes up, they're gonna be hearing this the whole day. And they're just like, my God, they can't escape. They can't escape. They're fucked.
Gave them. Maybe they booked an appointment. Maybe they scheduled grocery pickup. Maybe they intended to meal prep for the week. But now that you're
meal prep, y'all bitches don't even cook. Anyway,
you're not home, they can't do any of those things. When you tell someone something, they count on you for that thing. We should also consider that most of these men oftentimes are dads who are out golfing, and their partners don't mind that they golf, but it is an expensive and time-consuming hobby.
No. If you're not spending the money on her, it's almost like, hear me out here. I'll make the analogy here where parents will complain, particularly African Caribbean parents, or black parents in general, they will complain about, oh, you ain't going to bed on time, but then they'll have you up in church until like 2, 3 a.m. for a New Year's service, right? Or they'll have you attending night service where you're coming back home by 11 o'clock. Then, oh, all of that shit goes out the window just because I'm up at church. So when she's talking about an expensive hobby, no, she just means that because the resources are not coming to her and you're not spending the money on her, then all of a sudden it's expensive. The house is expensive, right? Buying you all those cars is expensive, right? Them clothes you're wearing is expensive when you look at it in total. The money that you ask for clothes and all that, for food and all that, that's expensive. All of that. That jewelry, that ring you're wearing, right? Your engagement ring, your wedding rings, whatever, that's expensive. But if you're spending on her, then it's money well spent.
And I can almost guarantee these men on Sunday are not watching the kids for 6 hours straight so she can do whatever the heck she wants. And if she leaves for an appointment, you best believe he's holding her accountable to the time she said she would be home because he has plans.
To do what, though? Because if you were like at a PTA meeting, if you're organizing something for the community, men you can do that. They don't really care about that. So I don't know what she even needs talking about. Oh, for me to do no, because on the free time, because most of the time when a man has free time, if you're living with a woman, she's going to hijack that time. That's how it works when you're cohabitating with a woman.
He has things he needs to do that day. His time is important. Everyone's time is important, especially women's time. And so when men go out to
especially women's time, you see right there. This is where you can identify the feminism. You know what I mean?
golf, usually women don't mind that they're golfing. What they mind is the blatant disrespect that happens when men go off to these kinds of hobbies. They say one thing and they do another thing. It is rude. Like, it's just point blank rude. And it like fails to acknowledge.
It fails to acknowledge that women, oh Lord, stop talking, man. And like, they just wonder why, like, I don't know. They just wonder why. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. Working mom of 4 who talks way more on TikTok, musings on parenting, career, and the mental load. Don't tell me she better not be a single mom. I swear to God. No, because you know what? Because she would have said she's a wife. So I'll say this: if she is currently a wife, that means there's a divorce incoming. Because if she was a wife, she would have put that on her bio that she is a wife. Working mom of 4 who talks way more on TikTok. Yikes. And if she is a working mom, that means she's a divorcee. She sounds like a divorcee, but you know, not to put her on blast or anything. But like I said, this is where women have to start asking the tough questions. Why is golfing out with the buddies a better time where my man feels to be away from me, way more to be with me? Maybe I need to self-introspect. Maybe I need to talk less. Because I like in her case, she needs to definitely talk less. She's got to talk less. It makes a world of difference. Trust me, man.